Hey everyone, my name is Doc. Welcome back to the THC Launchpad. This is our series of videos on cannabis marketing and how to get the most out of your marketing budget and to make the most of your brand. So today we are continuing with the theme of branding and piggybacking on what we talked about the last few episodes. We are specifically looking at what is a style guide. Quite simply, a style guide is your brand document. It is like almost a roadmap, a visual roadmap of what your brand looks like, how your brand is put forth out to the public, to your target audience, your customers, and it kind of pulls together all of the information that any designer, marketer, anyone working with your company on your brand, or that's going to be, a projection of your brand, they'll use this document to see exactly how they should do things. The simplest version of this brand style guide is just a pretty short document that lays out, here's your logo, here's how your logo should be used, here are the different versions of your logo, here are the fonts and typefaces and colors that your brand should use. And it might be one page, it might be only a couple pages, and it's just like, here are the fonts, here are the colors, go to town. But a more developed brand guide is going to have a lot more than that. It's going to show a lot of examples of how the brand should be used in different types of scenarios. It's going to show what kind of photography to use. It's going to show what secondary, tertiary design elements might be associated with the brand. It might include brand voice. That's a really important one that a lot of people don't think about with the style guide, but it's telling you how to talk about your company, how to talk about your brand, what kind of language to use, what tone of voice to use. So a brand guide for like big brands, even in the cannabis industry, they might be 20, 30, 40 pages long. So what's the big deal? I know a lot of people will look at the expense of a style guide, and they could be on the more expensive side, especially if you do a lot of development for it, and they'll say, that's not something I need. I have the logo, I know the colors, I know, I can just tell people the colors, I can just tell people what fonts to use. I don't need this document to lay this out. But that's a really short-sighted view of things, and you're going to end up paying down the line with more costs, more time involved, having to go back and redo things. So it's a really important investment when we're talking about brand. The brand and the brand guide, the style guide, kind of go hand in hand, because if you don't have the style guide, what do you have? And so let me go over some of the ways that you would use a brand guide. Anytime you hire a marketer, a designer, a photographer, any kind of third party that's going to be working on your brand with your products, with marketing materials, whether you sign up a new digital ad platform and they're like, okay, we're going to make some ads for you. What should they look like? If you have a style guide and it's a good one, you're going to be able to just hand that off. You're going to be able to just say, here's what you need to know, and they're going to look at that and they're going to say, great, I have everything I need, it's right here, I know what to do. I know what kind of photos to use, I know what kind of photos to take, I know what kind of graphic design style that fits with your brand. Another way that you use it, and whether it's with a third party or within your company internally, is it helps you to maintain consistency. Because every team member may have a different idea of what your brand is, and this brand guide is what's going to unify all the different possible visions of your brand. And when people are going off the grid, off the map, you can just point to the document and say, hey, look, this is the way it's done. And that is not to say that your brand has to be static. In practice, your brand guidelines should be a living document, something that you evolve over time, but that evolution will be much more consistent and much more guided with some guardrails on there if you've started off with a good, effective brand document to begin with. So let me give you a few examples of how having a brand guide means that you will save time and you will save money. For example, we just brought on a new client. It's a pretty big brand. It's been around for, not quite a decade, but 7, 8 years, which is a long time in this industry. And they have a new product that they're launching, and they brought us on to do their social media and some other digital ads, in-store videos and ads and whatnot. And they did not have a brand guide. They had the packaging of the new product that was already established, and they had their website and just kind of a hodgepodge of swag and content that has come before, but it wasn't consistent, and they were the first ones to admit it wasn't consistent. And they're like, we don't really have a clear idea of what the brand is, and we want you to start on the social media ASAP because the product launch is in a couple weeks. And we're like, wait, we can't execute on that when you don't have something to guide us on what your brand is. And we kind of just like said, let's be realistic. And we went through it was quick. It wasn't as fully developed as it would be with a style guide, but we went through a quick development phase where we created mood boards, and we're like, based on everything that we are hearing from you, this is kind of how we're envisioning what your brand is and how we're going to project it. And they were able to respond to those mood boards, and then we were able to present them. Here's the first round of social content to look at. What do you like, what do you don't? And so we had to go through this step by step, and they were in a mode of like, we want to go as quickly as we can, but we're like, literally we cannot make content for you if we don't know what the content's going to look like or what the style is supposed to be. And so we went through this development phase. It cost them more money and it cost them time. If they had had that style guide in hand, they would come to us and we would say, oh, we know exactly what you want and we can get started right away on it. Another example of where a style guide is very important, and this happens a lot, is people come to us, they want a new website, and they don't have a clear brand idea because they're probably really early. They have their logo. They may or may not have packaging depending on, are they a grow, are they a brand, are they a dispensary? But they don't have, they don't even know what fonts they want or what colors they want. And they're like, build the website. And when they don't have that and they don't want to pay the money or take the time to go through that development process, then the website is usually okay, And what I mean is, it's a good professional website, but it's not a great representation of their brand because they don't know what their brand is. Whereas we've worked with brands that have a style guide in hand, or that they hire us to do the style guide, either way. And then we go through that development process, or they hand us, they've already gone through the development process and they hand us the style guide. And then the website is always a lot better. And again, it's not that the quality of the website or the quality of the design is better, it's that it's capturing the exact mood and style of the brand, and people respond to it immediately. People inside the company respond to it immediately. Customers, outsiders, people we show the websites down the, like, we always pick those brands where we always pick the websites where we've developed the brand for them, or they've spent the time developing the brand prior to hiring us. We always pick those websites to show off because those are the good websites. Those are capturing something unique. Otherwise, it just ends up being pretty generic. So, the importance of the style guide, why you need it, how it's going to save you money down the road, and believe me, it's going to save you money. When you take the time at the beginning, it's going to save you money and it's going to make you money. So you need it. How do you go about getting it? Well, you hire a marketing team, a graphic designer, a brand stylist, any fill in the blank of, someone that has the experience working with brands, creating a style guide, and you will work with them to develop your brand. And the process is pretty simple. You'll go through an initial, question and answer phase, whether it's with a form or it's with an interview or a combination of both. And the designer will learn as much as they can about what your brand is meant to represent, what you like, what you don't like, what colors you're like, oh, I hate the color pink, or I really am feeling a green and blue, for whatever it is. They will learn all of that information from you, and then they will start to present you ideas. They'll probably have like, here are my initial ideas. If you already have a logo, that's kind of a starting point, and they will develop around the logo. If you don't have a logo, or the logo that you do have is, maybe subpar, then the logo will get built into the branding process and the style guide process, and it'll probably be like the first part of that. And so you'll go through steps, and you'll develop the logo and the colors and the fonts and some secondary elements to go with it. And then they'll start to take all that and present it like, here's what your website might look like. Here's how to, project your brand on social. Here's the kind of photography that matches the brand. If you're developing the brand voice together, here is the voice that we want. And you'll go through this whole process, and you'll put it together, and you'll get this finished document. Realistically, it's going to take at least a month, and it's more, we usually budget 60 days and then deliver in the 6-week range. But if it's a bigger, more extensive brand, that process might take 3 months to 6 months. If it's a longer process, it's going to go in stages, and so you'll get the visuals first. And so you'll start to be able to work on the website, work on other things, and the brand development will all be part of the build out of your other brand assets. Whatever amount it is that you're spending, believe me, there is no better investment than investing in your brand. And when I say you're investing in your brand, this is the investment. You're creating the brand document. That is what is going to, your brand is going to build out from this document, and the time and effort and creativity that went into developing it, that is going to just infuse your brand moving forward. It is not just going to save you money, like I said before, it is going to make you money. Your brand is the best investment that you can make. I truly believe that. I think if you talk to anyone in the industry, they're going to say the same thing. Without a brand, you're kind of going to be lost. Thank you for tuning in to this latest episode of the THC Launchpad. Stay tuned, subscribe, keep coming back for more. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. And if you have any questions or want to learn more, feel free to reach out for me. Go to our website, you'll find my email, you'll find my contact information, you'll be able to fill out a contact form. Whatever works for you, you'll be able to get a hold of us, and we're going to definitely get back to you. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.